Thank y'all so much for being here. My name is Hecht. I'm trombonist for the Dallas Symphony Orchestra and soloist with Time Brass and Griego mouthpieces. This is Jonathan Sy on the keys over here. Give him a big round of applause. All right. The first piece you heard on the program was Turning Point by Elizabeth Brown. She's included some program notes I'd like to go ahead and read y'all. This piece was influenced by Robert Burns' poem To a Mouse, in which is found the famous line, "The best laid plans of mice and men often go awry." The first theme starts out happily enough, a pleasant trombone melody over a harp-like accompaniment, which I think he plays better on the piano than a harp does, so awesome job, I got that. The second theme, however, is a less straightforward shifting between major and minor with ominous foreshadowing until it is halted by a fierce interlude transforming the light-hearted first theme into an angry introduction to the cadenza. Hopefully you're able to catch a lot of that. Elizabeth does a great job. She's just an absolute artist at writing beautiful lines. And one of the things that I love that she does in that first piece is that you get this really gorgeous line to start out with, and in the recap at the end of the piece, that after a few phrases starts turning dark and starts getting a little angry and a little bit more like something's, bubbling from within, And so she does a great job in this piece, and that's why I think it's fitting to have this, turning point, because our character at some point in this piece starts out real happy, but then something goes wrong in their story, and there's a turning point where it gets aggressive, and that's the middle of that first solo that you heard, was that turning point where, the character is clearly going through something, but prevails in the end, and get that main theme come back in a very heroic way to finish out the piece. So Elizabeth Brown's Turning Point. Up next for you, we've got one of my good friends all the way from Spain, Ricardo Moya, wrote a piece just, I think, a year ago now, or 2 years ago, called Ink Concerto. And if you haven't heard of these two composers, I specifically programmed on these recitals I'm doing on this tour because they are new to the trombone world in many ways. Elizabeth's been writing there for a while, maybe only like 10 years, but obviously when compared to, stolen compositions of Debussy and Bach and Telemann, it's fairly new to our trombone literature. I hope that more people dive into these libraries because they're absolutely amazing. The stuff that Elizabeth has written and that Ricardo is writing for the trombone, it's just next level, and I think that their compositions, among many current composers, are going to be taking our repertoire into a new chapter. And this piece I'm going to play for you next, we're going to be playing for you next, is one of them. It's called Ink Concerto. He also gave me just a little description I'd like to share with you. So Ink Concerto refers to a tattoo. Getting a tattoo, being the tattoo artist, coming up with the whole tattoo design. And this next piece is sort of the meat of the recital. It's a 22-minute piece in 3 movements. And the piece is structured in 3 movements: ink and blood, tattoo portal, and magical etching. Kind of working back, one of the things that you'll hear in magical etching, if any of you have seen a tattoo, like someone getting it, or you've gotten a tattoo yourselves, you know it's this tiny little needle that just delivers ink into the skin. And what Ricardo's done in that third movement that you're going to hear, I think is really cool, is that he asks the bass trombone to be quite nimble. And so there's a lot of changing meters and very agile melodic lines in both the trombone and the piano that's almost like he's characterizing the tattoo needle, and that it's like dancing across the skin in a way. The tattoo portal is more of a dreamlike state, and then ink and blood is the excitement of the storyline. Each movement delves into a narrative that intertwines the physical and metaphysical, creating a profound storytelling experience through music. The concerto tells the story of a tattoo artist who, during a night vigil at the hospital beside her ill mother, experiences a revelation. In a dream, she is drawn into a fantastical world of tattoos, embarking on an adventure to find the perfect tattoo design for her mother, a design that symbolizes a wish unfulfilled in her mother's youth. The narrative progresses through the movements, reflecting the artist's journey from the initial emotional turmoil to the magical discovery and ultimate creation of this significant piece of art. Throughout the composition, tempo markings and dynamic shifts such as needle dance, pierced skin, dermis boundaries, and ink fusion serve as vivid indicators of the evolving emotional and narrative arc, guiding both performer and listeners through a journey that is at once personal and universally resonant. Ink Concerto is more than a musical work. It is a journey of emotion, memory, and creative discovery masterfully crafted for the bass trombone and piano. One of the things I encourage you to listen for throughout this saga of a bass trombone concerto, if you will, are the recurring themes. Sometimes it'll be very obvious when you hear one of the melodies come back, and other times he'll invert it or do it backwards. But see if you can try and find those melodies that we bring back through, that are introduced in the first movement, second movement, third movement, then come back throughout those movements in different ways. So with that said, I hope you enjoy Ink Concerto by Ricardo Moya. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. What do y'all think of that piece? Pretty cool? Yeah, it's got some stuff in there. All right. Now, that one's, this is actually my first set of performances doing it. And so, one of the, I played with this guy, Michael Schneider, and Dallas. Actually, you're from Dallas. You know Michael Schneider?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay. So me and Mike go way back. He gives this master class at one of these trombone events I did recently where it's about, like, how to form a relationship with a piece. You know, I think a lot of times in college, you prep a piece for a recital, you play it that one time, you immediately move on to the next piece, right? But it's really like you've only gone on, like, you know, one date with that piece. You know, you really didn't get to know it that well, and you really find out a lot about your connection to a piece when you choose to perform it. In the practice room, that's one thing. In your professor's studio, that's another thing. When you're in the light and you've got to perform that piece, you slowly form a bond with it. And one of the things that I love to do, and that he was talking about in his class, is that it's like when you play a piece with somebody, you know, it's kind of like, and we were just talking about kids earlier. It's like, It's like you have a 1-year-old with that person. When you then play it again, which we've gotten to play this piece several times in the last couple of days. When you play it again, it's like you've got, you know, a toddler. You play it again, you've got, you know, kid in middle school, and you've got a teenager, and it's like you play these things a lot, you really get to know them, and when you get to that point of knowledge of the piece, you really get to start playing with it. You get to start having fun with it, and that's one of the things that I really just enjoyed about that performance that we got to do, is that we got to kind of play around with stuff. We did some stuff that we didn't even do in rehearsals, and it's kind of fun. You get to develop that sort of nonverbal communication with another musician whenever you play through things multiple times, and so I encourage you all to, one, check out that piece, check out that composer, but also when you play a piece, play it a couple of times and see if you can even play it a couple of times with the same pianist. And I think you'll find that this like nonverbal bond is created through the two musicians. That's a really cool, intangible thing that I think you all will hopefully thank me later for. It's really a lot of fun. We've got 2 more pieces on the program for you. I think only 1 more is in the program, and I did that intentionally, and I'll tell you why in just a second. These next 2 pieces are arrangements of my own. I've never considered myself an arranger, and it's one of those things that's always terrified me. Like I feel like probably if you're all here, you have musical minds, and occasionally a little melody comes to your mind, and you're like, wow, you know, that's a cool melody, but I have no idea how to finish it. And with these, I didn't thankfully come up with the melodies. Somebody else did, and you know, I just kind of decided, look, that can't just live on the radio and in the popular music world. I love these songs so much, I want to bring them to the trombone world, the classical world. And so I had no idea what I was doing. I just started these, and I am really proud of them the way they turned out. They took a lot of work, a lot of editing, a lot of cleaning up. But I hope you all will enjoy them. But the reason why I tell you all that is because if there's any sort of project or anything that you've been hesitant about doing, there was a motto, a philosophy that really helped me to just jump in and trust myself to figure it out. And it's called ready, shoot, aim, right? You're not going to be able to know all the answers sometimes whenever you start out on a new journey or a new endeavor or a new company or something or a new business or a new hobby or something. And it's okay if you don't have all the answers. And for me, I let that kind of fear keep me from ever even starting arranging for a long time. But my friend told me that, and I was like, yeah, why not? You know, what's the worst thing that happens? I create a terrible arrangement and I delete it? Okay, no big deal. But ready, shoot, aim, I thought was really cool because then you'll find out the questions along the way. You'll answer them. You'll fix it. You'll get better at it, and you build some confidence in it. So this has been my little project of confidence building and stepping into arranging in hopes of bringing a little bit of who I am to the classical stage. You know, a lot of these recitals, I get up here and I'll play a lot of classical music, but if I'm 100% honest with you guys, most of what I listen to is not classical music. You know, I'm in the Dallas Symphony, so I listen to classical music for my job. I need to know what the pieces are I'm playing each week, and so Sundays and Mondays, those are my homework days. I listen to quite a bit of classical music on those days because I have to, you know. But whenever I'm not working, I kind of go through phases, but it's, you know, every realm of popular music. You know, I went down a really big Avenged Sevenfold alley one time. I went down, you know, I was in the Navy band. I was really big into rap and Lil Wayne. I had every single one of his albums queued up on my Spotify. Whenever I moved to Texas in 21, I'm from Texas originally, and whenever I moved back to Texas, there's like 80 good country stations, right? Now, some of you that might not like country, it's like, that's 80 bad country stations. That's 80 too many. But I really fell in love with country music. It was something that I grew up listening to, because whenever my stepdad would take us to school, me and my brother, he had a rule, and it was, you can pick the station, but I get to pick the volume. And so we would always turn on music we wanted to, but if it wasn't country, he would turn the volume off. So if we didn't want to sit there in silence on a 30-minute drive to school each morning, we just got used to listening to country. And so it always had this sort of special place in my heart. It came back whenever I moved back to Texas. And one of my favorite artists right now is Luke Combs, and he has this song, Better Together, that it's easily, like whenever you get the Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year, I'm in like the top 1% of Luke Combs and Zach Brown Band listeners. And so I love this song a lot, and I wanted to play these next two songs to show you a little bit about who I am and the kind of music I like to listen to, but obviously adapted for more of a recital environment here. And this first one, I think, really transfers really well. If you know this song, I think you'll immediately recognize it. But also the dual reason for me putting this on here, I guess third reason for me putting this on here, is that when I'm away from my family, my wife and my kids, it's always tough. I miss them a lot, and music is always a way to connect people. And so I play this next song because I feel a little bit closer to my wife whenever I'm on the road, and it's by Luke Combs. It's called Better Together. So please enjoy. then for the final one on the program, I didn't put the title on there because I think a lot of you are gonna know this song. My hope is a lot of you know this song. This one is a dedication to my kids, Claire and Audrey, and I always miss them when I'm on the road. And I went through a big 80s rock era whenever my first one was born for about 4 years, and that's all I was listening to. A lot of Kansas and Guns N' Roses and all that stuff. But I hope you'll enjoy this rendition, and I think you'll know what the song is when you hear it.